Hey guys, we're here today recording our guide on how to use Hisuian Typhlosion. If you guys enjoy this, of course, leave a like below and subscribe for more content just like this. And with that said, I want to really quickly mention, I'm sorry this video is late. I had a little bit of stuff. If you guys saw our stream on Thursday, you probably know why. I was up until like 6 a.m. that night, just in general. So it was a long night, and I could not sleep, so I didn't end up having time to record this when I woke up early in the morning before work, because I had to rush right out. I did take the time, however, at the very least, to refine how we're doing the presentation a little bit, mostly with the intro slide. I wanted to cover the stats and abilities and typing first with Pokemon on screen, so they're visually here, because to be honest, I probably should have done that from the start, so I'm kind of shocked I didn't before. Regardless, though, let's get into it with Hisuian Typhlosion, which is a Fire Ghost typing, with 73 HP, 84 attack, 78 in defense, 119 in special attack, 85 in def, and 95 in speed. This has the abilities Blaze and Flash Fire still as its placeholders, which makes sense. A lot of Pokemon kept most of their abilities. I don't think many actually changed more than one ability. So Hisuian Typhlosion does have a few things that are definitely out of its favor, however, as opposed to regular Typhlosion. And the first one definitely ends up being the lack of eruption naturally in this game. So if we're going off of purely Legends Arceus movesets, this Pokemon does not have the best coverage. It's literally Fire and Ghost specially. Physically, however, it does have some really good coverage, which is why I did end up actually suggesting a couple sets for this Pokemon. I think one of the best comparisons we have currently in the meta to this will be to Chandelure, which currently has 80 base speed, it has Flash Fire as an ability, and it's Fire Ghost typing. However, this trades a bit of the speed for a little bit of the special attack. So it's a little less hard-hitting, especially. However, it is faster for sure. So that does make the Scarf Speed tier a bit more viable in this Pokemon, whereas Chandelure, you're mostly just going to use as a breaker at this point. So with that said, let's get into our first set, being Leftovers Calm Mind. Now, I figured that this could be a pretty interesting set, and this does play off the idea that Hisuian Typhlosion inevitably gets Focus Blast, because if it doesn't, honestly, this Pokemon really does not have many, if any, good movesets. So we're going to start off hoping for the best with our Calm Mind set, which I think if it does get Focus Blast will actually be really amazing. Otherwise, though, we know for a fact it will have Mystical Fire and Shadow Ball and Calm Mind. These are all confirmed moves on it. With the set, mostly just meant to be timid and max speed, just to try and hit as fast as possible. I don't really see this Pokemon being some OU menace or anything, but figured regardless, I mean, this could give Calm Mind Typhlosion some actual use and maybe like an UU sort of tier. I will say Fire Ghost is a really cool typing for it. And Calm Mind could give some nice edge over Scarf sets, at the very least in terms of a breaker, so it could give that sort of, you need Scout for this Pokemon sort of feel. And I feel like that could actually work, because while this isn't as fast as normal Typhlosion, at the very least, its typing is finally not just one-dimensional. Ghost is a really good offense typing in general. However, at the same time, though, if this doesn't get Focus Blast, this Pokemon will honestly be worse than Typhlosion, in my opinion. Just like regular Typhlosion. Because you won't be able to actually hit dark types, and the typing at that point ends up going from a really good offensive typing that has actual coverage for it, to a typing that almost hinders you, because it gives you weaknesses now to Ghost and Dark, which Typhlosion did not have before. So I feel like it's really 50-50 depending on what coverage this Pokemon actually gets, because it already kind of struggles to hit the common types around it right now, being stuff like, for example, ground, rock, water, etc. So because of the fact that its best coverage for stuff like water, rock, and ground is all Solar Beam, and you need the Sun Up for that, I feel like that this could end up actually having some issues if it does not have Focus Blast. However, with Focus Blast, this is honestly just better Chandelure, because Chandelure currently, outside of fire attacks with Flash Fire, does lack a good way to hit dark types. Now, even without Focus Blast, to be fair, you could always rely on Calm Mind to boost your special attack enough to where dark types won't matter, as well as maybe boost with Flash Fire to where dark types won't matter. So it could help a little bit, but I don't see this really saving itself without Focus Blast. The next set banks off of in-game moveset. I will say, to be fair, you could easily change out Overheat for Focus Blast if it's in the game, but I wanted to at least make two sets that were in-game possible. The Calm Mind set is the current, idealistic moveset, but this set and the next set are both possible with 100% certainty for what is in the game, besides Eruption. But Eruption I put on here because once this is transferable to a game with items, at that point, regular Cyndaquil does get Eruption as a normal move through level up. So I find it extremely hard that I find it extremely hard to believe that you couldn't just at that point teach Eruption. This isn't like Focus Blast where it is specific to Typhlosion only as a TM. I figured this could end up being a very, very learnable move. And also, to be fair, if for some reason this doesn't get either Eruption or Overheat, There are other options here. You can throw on Mystical Fire. You could throw on Ominous Wind, I guess, if you want to cheese stat boost. You could also go with Mixed Scarf, to be fair, because this does have, as established before, 84 in attack. And we'll get into some of the physical coverage in a bit, actually, because I do think this has some pretty good physical coverage. And I think that, ultimately, if this doesn't get Focus Blast, this will probably need to rely on physical sets, at least to a certain degree, to really do anything. But with Shadow Ball and Flamethrower, these are two guaranteed moves that you do have in your moveset. They're very, very hard hitting, and Overheat as well is also a really obnoxious fire attack that, while it has a bit of a chance to miss and it has special attack drop, if you're just trading a kill and then trying to get out of there and then get another kill, this is more than likely your option of choice to attack with a fire set. I won't Blaze on this set because, while you can make a case for Flash Fire, being, of course, you know, boosting fire attacks if you're switching, the fact that this has 3 fire attacks and it's also locking itself into a set, I feel like with Blaze, at the very least at that point, you're able to weigh yourself down over time, you know, coming in on hazards repeatedly after switching out from locking into Overheat, and then at that point you're boosting your attacks with self-infliction, whereas I feel like there's definitely a potential for people to maybe not click fire attack, you know, if they think that you're going to double into Typhlosion, depending on what their fire type ends up being. So I felt like with this set personally, that Blaze was the slightly better ability, but I think unlike the other two sets, there's really merit to either ability here. I personally leaned slightly to Blaze, like a 55-45 split, so in case you guys are wondering what ability you should run, for this set specifically, I don't think it matters. I think for the other two, though, I would run Flash Fire, because you're not locking into specific moves there, and you're not going to necessarily be forcing yourself to switch out. So I think at least with Calm Mind, you kind of have to go for the Flash Fire, in my opinion, as just an extra way to boost. With this set, I definitely would go with Blaze, but you could go with either. And I think with our next set, you could also technically go with either, but I would lean a lot more towards Flash Fire at that point, because you're not running as many fire attacks. Which, speaking of, this set has Thunder Punch, Shadow Claw, Fire Punch, and Drain Punch. And while, to be fair, Flash Fire does boost only fire attacks anyway, so I know I mentioned not as many fire attacks. I think, again, this is a case of just giving the immunity rather than trying to specifically fish for the damage boost for fire attacks, because you're not really trying to click repeated fire stab with this set. With this set, though, however, you could definitely make a case for Blaze because you are running Life Orb on the set. It's just 4 attacks with Thunder Punch, Fire Punch, Shadow Claw, and Drain Punch. This set does have actual coverage because with Typhlosion, you're able to have Thunder Punch, which is guaranteed on this Pokemon. These are all 4 moves, are all possible in Legends Arceus. So this set, at the very least, is 100% possible. But Thunder Punch is great for stuff like, for example, water types, and that's already better than normal Typhlosion had, because I think normal Typhlosion normal Typhlosion also did run Thunder Punch for water types, unless you're running Solar Beam in the Sun. And Drain Punch also helps with the dark types. So that already gives you 2 forms of coverage, which is Pokemon lacked before. Shadow Claw and Fire Punch are still really good physical options for Fire and Ghost Stab respectively. With this, again, max speed, Jolly. You really want max speed on this Pokemon. Being 95 with a plus speed nature is a pretty big deal. There's a lot of different Pokemon that typically will reside on this. I know, for example, Kyurem was a big thing in general for Sword and Shield OU until it got banned. And it's a fairly decent speed tier to hit offensively, especially if you're going to throw this on a web sort of team. However, again, I feel like this will probably end up in the lower tiers for sure. Just I think a physical at that point, once you're getting down to lower tiers, usually those walls are to less extremes. Like, for example, in OU, you also have, like, Blissey, which has obnoxious HP and Spadef, for example. And this sort of Pokemon isn't going to be dealing with those in, like, the RU, NU sort of tier. Because those Pokemon just don't typically exist in terms of extreme bulk. Maybe proportional to the tier, but nothing really exists like, you know, the Cresselias. I mean, sometimes Caress actually ends up in RU, to be fair, but this would handle that anyway. But I feel like, though, when you're getting into that sort of realm of Pokemon, where they're typically just worse BST overall, where they just have no way to actually do damage, I feel like it definitely helps, and you can give physical maybe a potential actual niche in that sort of tier. I feel like you kind of need Life Orb in the set, because unlike with Calm Mind, you don't really have a way to boost your offense, and it's already pretty pitiful for physical attack as it is, so I figured Life Orb is the best case here. You can maybe rock Extra Belt, to be fair. The coverage is actually pretty good, but I would personally go with Life Orb just to guarantee. With that said, though, hopefully you guys did enjoy today's video. If you did, leave a like below and let me know down below what you guys thought of it. Next up, we're going to be doing Hisuian Typhlosion, so hopefully you guys look forward to that. Tomorrow's video, by the way, I know I had mentioned on the schedule that we're going to do top 5 Hisuian forms. Might get delayed a little bit. My editor actually, for that video specifically, ended up losing power. So we're hoping that he gets his power back, because if yes, then we can get the video up for tomorrow. Otherwise, then it'll really just depend on when that gets done. But it will be pushed to be determined, so if that doesn't go up tomorrow, it'll be a showdown live. With that said, though, shout outs to our channel members, being Zeke0, Ultra Player, we have Mia, Rika Hoshizora, Randy Chappa, and Pokemon fan the Majestic Xerneas. Thank you guys so much for your support. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys.